ladies, here we are, EVE Online, Cinema 4D, Lesson 105, Submasks. It's been a long time since the last lesson. I apologize for that. The only excuse I have is that the previous intro video was really complicated to edit and took a lot out of my poor computer. So as you notice, I've done something different and it's much easier to update. So hopefully that's one less excuse for me to get these videos out faster. It's going to be a short lesson today. You should recognize most of what I'm doing. First thing I'm going to do is open up a PGS file from my stabber model. I'll open that up, apply my EVE ships action, which we've learned how to make previously. And I'm going to look at two channels in particular. The red channel I'm going to save out and call it Submask 1. And then I'm going to look at the blue channel and actually save that out and call it Submask 2. Okay? That's it. That's everything we're going to be doing in Photoshop. So once you save those out, you can close down Photoshop and we'll go into Cinema 4D. Now, on your own, you should be able to get here. You should be able to import your model, you should be able to apply your basic textures, etc., etc. And when you're done, you should be able to render out something that looks relatively like this. I'm trying to use low settings here, even though I've got a nice studio in place, just because I was being fancy and all that. But you should be able to see everything here you need. You've got the correct glossiness, you've got on your main materials, you've got your luminosity channel going, you've got your normal map created. Everything should be good and you should end up with a basic looking stabber. Okay, I'm not going to let that finish rendering, you get the idea. Now here's something interesting that I just learned from Timber Dandelion. I don't know how to say his last name, you know who I'm talking about. So I'm going to create a new material, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my alpha channel and I'm going to load up the Submask 1 texture that I made. Okay, that was pretty easy. That's really it for now. I'm going to drag that onto the stabber, and you'll instantly see that because of the alpha, it appears in a different location. If you want to specify just a selection to apply that to, I've done it to selection 1. So essentially what I've done, and I've added another skin to it, and you can make it anything you want. I mean, I can go into my material and you can see here, if I change the color of it, it'll change the color of that material. I could make it red if I wanted to, something a little more fun. Dark and Dangerous Orange. I can apply specular to it if I want to. I can do anything I want with the normal maps, bump maps, anything at all. It essentially just becomes another material for you to play with on top of your existing model. So that's really it. You can have fun with that, and it's that simple to apply. Most ships have them. Some ships, they don't look so good. You know, typically I'll use a rifter to demonstrate what I'm doing, or firetail, but it didn't really look so nice for either of these. But once you get cruiser size and up, a lot of these look kind of nice. And that's it. It's pretty straightforward. I don't really think it requires any more explanation. So what I'm going to do is delete that, and I'm going to create another material. And this one I learned about also from Timber, but this one came about by mistake, what it actually turns out to be. So let me show you Submask 2. Now Submask 2, if I go in and reverse it from what is actually produced in Photoshop, and then we'll apply that to our main stabber model, what you should be able to see here is interesting. What it actually gives you is all the turret points. So when you're trying to put turrets onto your ships, there's now this easy visual reference in Submask 2 that you can use. For me, it's better than going in and trying to figure out all this nonsense with the black files, etc., etc. Instead, I just have a nice handy map that can show me exactly what it is and where they go. So there you go. Now there is some masking on there, so you can play with it in Photoshop if you really do want to use it as its own submask. You can see here it has a bit of design pattern on the front, but basically I don't. It just doesn't really make that much of a difference to me. I prefer the Submask 1. Something fancy that I did lately was, you'll see in your finished product, was I used this material here. That's up to you. There's also another one I'm working on that's going to give it a bit of a more rust looking appearance, because to me that's more Minmatar. and these are Minmatar ships. So that's really it for the lesson today. Just be aware that there are all kinds of hidden jewels inside of these texture files that you can use for your own fun. Okay, I'll see you next time. Fly strong. Stay frosty.